Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe my channel. Enjoy the listening. When the cosmic alarm sounds, only the deadliest beings respond. A dark and quiet space station floated near the edge of the galaxy. It had been silent for centuries, its systems running only for basic survival. Then, a flicker, a light blinked red, a signal had arrived. Inside, old machines came to life, dusty monitors lit up, and one word appeared on every screen. Liang, far away in the capital ship of the Varn Dominion, Commander Exalter stood frozen. His tall reptilian form trembled as he stared at the message coming from the edge. His officers looked confused, only he knew what this meant. "No," he whispered, "it is too soon, they should never wake again." His second-in-command, General Skarn, stepped forward. "Commander, what is this message?" Slowly, his eyes turned, glowing with fear, not anger. "This is not just a message, it's a warning from the Death Worlds." The control room went silent, even the hum of the ship seemed to fade. Everyone knew the stories. The Death Worlds were not ordinary planets, they were places where nature itself was violent, where gravity crushed bones, where storms could rip steel apart, and yet life had survived there. Life had adapted, and that life became stronger than anything the galaxy had ever seen. Commander Skarn asked again, his voice shaking slightly, "Are you saying they are returning?" "They never truly left." "Exalter," said the commander, "we buried them, locked them away, sealed the gates, but now someone or something has awakened them." "Why now?" Another officer asked. "It has been 3,000 years. "That's the question that keeps me awake," Zalor said. He turned to the hollow table in the center of the room and pressed his claw against it. A map of the galaxy lit up near the edge, a small red dot blinked. This signal came from listening post E9, it was shut down long ago. Only one kind of transmission was allowed to go out from there, an alert if the Deathworlders ever moved again. "What should we do?" Skarn asked. "We must bring them together," Zalter said. "Bring them? You want to wake them yourself?" "Yes," the commander said firmly, "because if someone else already has, then the galaxy is in danger and only they can stop what's coming." The officers stared in disbelief. Wake the monsters to stop a greater monster, it sounded insane. "Begin the protocol," ordered the commander. "Start with the human." In a cold, dark chamber on a hidden moon, a stasis pod beeped once. Inside, a woman's eyes opened. Human warrior, killer, her name was Raina Cole, and she was not happy to be awake. "You said." Inside the cryo chamber, frost cracked and hissed as warm air rushed in. Raina Cole blinked slowly, her eyes adjusting to the dim light. Her body felt stiff, but her mind was sharp. She sat up fast like a soldier ready for war. A robotic voice spoke, "Subject 01, Raina Cole. Cryosleep duration, 2,974 years. Revival complete." Raina ignored it. Her first move was to check her pulse, then scan the room. Her instincts were still strong, cold metal walls, one door, no weapons in sight, but she could use anything as a weapon if needed. The door slid open, and two alien guards entered, weapons drawn but not pointed. They looked nervous. Raina smirked. "Smart move," she said, her voice rough from the long sleep. "You don't want to see what I do when I'm startled." Behind the guards, Storr walked in. He bowed slightly. "Raina Cole, commander of Earth's last war, survivor of Black Horizon. We meet at last." Raina stood. "You're not from Earth, why'd you wake me up?" Storr stepped forward, keeping his tone calm. "Because something worse than you is coming." Raina laughed dryly. "You don't know me very well, lizard man." "I know enough," Zalor said. "You were sealed because no one could kill you, not even your own kind." She stopped smiling. "That was a long time ago." "Not long enough," he replied, then pressed a button. A hollow image appeared, a creature made of shadows tearing through starships, swallowing suns. This is called the MA. It is older than war, hungrier than death. Reyna stared at it. Why me? Because you're from Earth, Zoltar said, and Earth is a death world, one of the worst. We sealed you all away for the safety of the galaxy, but now we need you. She looked at the monster again, then back at him. If I say no, you won't? She paused. Then who else are you waking? Storr's voice turned grave. One, from the sand world of Zeril, a warrior named Rar. You've met before. Reyna's eyes narrowed. That psychopath? You want me to work with him? You'll have to, Zoltar said, because he's already awake. Reyna turned slowly, her fists clenched. Then I want a weapon. Something big, something mean. You'll get one, Zur said. You'll need it. Outside, in deep space, a ship roared through hyperspeed. Inside, Rother sat in silence, sharpening a blade made of black stone. The crew was dead, he had killed them for fun. Now he was headed to meet an old enemy, Reyna Cole, and she was waiting. The twin sons of Zar Cole beat down on endless waves of red sand, nothing groovier, nothing gentler survived. The storms could strip flesh from bone in seconds, and even the wind sounded like screaming. This was Rother's world, a place built by chaos and ruled by strength. A battle cruiser hovered low over the dunes, its engines whining under the heat. Inside, Commander Exalter stood before the creature he had just awakened, Rothar, the sand beast of Zeril. He was nearly 3 m tall, his skin like cracked stone, eyes glowing yellow, his muscles looked carved from metal. Around him, 4 guards lay broken, groaning on the floor. They pointed weapons at me, Rother said, his voice deep and growling. I pointed back with my fists. Zaylor didn't flinch. You haven't changed. Rother tilted his head. You've gotten smaller. I didn't come to fight, Zoltar said. I came to offer you a hunt. Rother grinned, sharp teeth showing. You never bring good news. Who am I supposed to kill this time? Storr pressed a button, the hollow image of the MA appeared again, now showing its trail of destruction, 10 systems lost, a sun consumed, an armada wiped out, that Zaylor said. If we don't stop it, you'll have nothing left to kill, no worlds to conquer, no prey to hunt. Rother stared at the image. Big, yes, hungry, yes, I like it. He said, there's more. Zoltar added, you won't hunt alone. Rother's smile vanished. I work alone, not this time, you'll team with a human. Rother's eyes narrowed. Which one? Reyna Cole fell silent, then a deep, slow chuckle escaped her. She's alive. Awakened. Rother stood and walked to the nearest wall, then punched it, leaving a deep dent. She tried to kill me, and you tried to crush her skull. She broke my jaw, you broke her arm. Rother looked back at Zaylor. This isn't a team, it's a bloodbath waiting to happen. Then don't spill each other's blood, Zoltar said. Spill the MOS instead. Rother stepped forward, looming. Fine, but if she tries anything, I finish what I started. On a separate ship, Reyna watched the same hologram. So he's really coming? Yes, Skarn said. He'll meet you at Outpost 9. Reyna grabbed her rifle and strapped it to her back. Then you better clear the outpost, someone's going through a wall. Hours later, on the surface of a dead asteroid, Rother landed. Reyna stood at the edge of the landing pad. They didn't speak at first, just stared. Finally, she said, still ugly. Rother growled, still small. I could kill you, I'd enjoy trying. They stared a second longer, then turned to walk side by side into the outpost. The galaxy had no idea what it had just unleashed. A cold wind howled across the frozen plains of Norvk, the ice world. Temperatures here dropped so low that even machines needed heaters to survive. But one being lived here without warmth, she didn't need it. Inside a crystal cave, buried beneath the ice, a single stasis pod began to glow. Lights flickered, ancient runes lit up, then the pod hissed open. Vela opened her eyes, her skin was pale blue, almost glowing, her hair floated around her like mist. She didn't move much, she didn't have to. Vela was not known for her strength or speed, she was known for her mind. She stepped out of the pod barefoot, and the ice didn't even crack. Her eyes, pure white, focused on the shadowy figure standing nearby. "Zoltar, again, I was wondering when you'd show up," she said quietly. "You saw this?" "I saw everything." Vela was a seer, a psychic born from the frozen storms and silence of her death world. Her mind could reach through space into memories, even into the future. Walter didn't like being around her, no one did. Being near her felt like she was inside your head, because she probably was. "We need you," he said. "I know," she replied, walking past him. "The M.A., death and fire and silence, you're calling ghosts now." "Commander, we're calling warriors," she smiled faintly. "Ghosts are better at winning impossible wars." He followed her out of the cave, stepping carefully behind her. "You'll be joining Reyna and Rothar." "I know," she said again. "They don't like me, they don't like anyone." Vela turned to him. "And you do? You like me, Exalter?" "No," she laughed softly. "Good, then, we're all honest now." Hours later, the team stood inside an abandoned war station orbiting a dead planet. Reyna leaned against a railing, arms crossed. "You brought her," she said. Vela walked in slowly, her eyes scanning the room. "Hello, Reyna." Rather groaned, "I thought she was locked in a glacier." "She was," Zoltar said, "until now." Reyna stepped closer, her tone sharp, "If you go inside my head again, I never left." Vela said softly, "Reyna." Reyna raised her fist, but rather grabbed her arm. "Save it, we'll need her." "I don't trust her," Reyna snapped. "You don't trust anyone," Rather said. Vela looked up. "Good, because someone in this room is lying." Silence. Storr turned, "What do you mean?" Vela's eyes slowly scanned the group. "I saw something, a choice. One of us will betray the others. I don't know who, but I'll find out." She turned and walked away. Reyna looked at Rothar. "I hate psychics." He nodded. "Same." And far out in the dark space beyond them, something watched. Something old, something hungry, the M.A. was closer than they thought. The moon had no name, it was not marked on any star map. It drifted in the shadow of a gas giant, surrounded by broken ships and forgotten satellites. But deep beneath its frozen surface, something ancient waited. The Dithworlders arrived in silence. Reyna stood at the docking bay of Outpost 9, her rifle slung across her back. Rothar followed, eyes scanning every shadow. Vela floated behind them, feet never touching the ground, her mind reaching up like invisible fingers. "This place gives me a bad feeling," Reyna muttered. "It should," Vela replied, "it remembers war. The outpost was built long ago, during the first galactic conflict. It was abandoned when the last battle ended, but the weapons hidden here, those were never deactivated." They walked through halls filled with dust and decay, symbols from long-dead empires marked the walls. Suddenly, a hum filled the air. Reyna raised her weapon. "We're not alone." Rothar cracked his knuckles. "Good." They followed the sound to a chamber deep underground. There, at the center, a strange girl stood among glowing machines. She couldn't have been more than 10 years old, but her eyes, they were ancient. "Who are you?" Reyna asked, lowering her gun slightly. The girl turned, "I've been waiting for you." Rather stepped forward, suspicious. "That's not a child." Vela tilted her head. "She's not really. I'm the warden, the girl said softly, I guard the vault. What vault? Salure's voice echoed from behind as he entered. There was no mention of a vault in the records. The girl walked to a panel and touched it. The ground trembled, then with a deep rumble, a massive door slid open, revealing a chamber filled with powerful technology, gravity cannons, starlances, cloaking generators, and weapons no one had seen in over 3,000 years. This is why I brought you here, Zoltar said. We need these, they're still active, Vela said. I can hear them thinking. Reyna looked at the girl. Why are you here alone? I'm not alone, the girl said. The vault listens, it speaks to me, and it told me your time would come before anyone could respond. An alarm blared, red lights flashed. Reyna spun around. What, now? Someone found us. Vela whispered, I felt it too late. Outside the moon, black ships dropped out of hyperspace, sleek, silent, marked with symbols no one had seen in ages. Zoltar's voice was grim, those aren't pirates, those are Voidborn. Reyna tightened her grip on her rifle. And they're heading straight for us. The girl raised her hand. Then you should choose quickly, the vault will only open to those who are ready. Reyna looked at Rafar, he nodded. Then she looked at Vela, who was already staring into the future. Let's take what we can, Reyna said, and get ready. The Voidorn ships descended. Inside, dark shapes moved, the first real fight had begun. The vault's walls closed behind them just as the first blast shook the outpost, and dust rained from the ceiling. Outside, Voidorn warriors dropped onto the moon's surface like black meteors, silent and deadly, their armor shimmering like liquid metal, and they didn't speak, they never did. Reyna slammed her fist on a control panel. We're boxed in. We need to get above ground. Rothar growled, gripping a massive plasma axe he had found in the vault. Let me handle them. Vela turned toward the child, the warden. There's a back exit, isn't there? The girl nodded slowly. Yes, but you won't all make it. Reyna stepped closer. What does that mean? I saw pieces, the warden said. One of you falls here. I don't know who. Not yet. They all stared at each other in silence, then Reyna said, we don't die today. Not yet. She took the lead, pushing through the winding halls. Explosions echoed behind them. The Voidorn were inside the outpost now, moving fast, breaking through layers of defense like they were paper. Why are they here? Rothar asked, swinging open a thick vault door. They want the vault's weapons, Zar said, catching up, but more than that, they want us, they're afraid, Vela added, of what we might become. The group emerged into a hangar filled with broken ships. Reyna spotted one, an old strike cruiser, Earth, that'll do. Rothar moved toward it when a Voidborn assassin dropped from the ceiling, blade first. Reyna fired instantly, but the creature twisted midair, dodging with impossible grace. Rothar caught it mid-lunge and slammed it against the wall, it dissolved into black smoke. There's more, Vela whispered. Reyna turned and froze. Another figure stood near the far wall, not a Voidorn, a man, human. He was tall, wearing deep gray armor, his face was scarred and burned, his eyes empty. Who the hell? Reyna started. The man smiled faintly. Reyna Cole, still breathing. She stepped forward, weapon raised. You know me. Yes, I should. I was there, remember Black Horizon. I died screaming while you escaped. Her eyes widened. Mason? On, and what's left of him? He said, the Voidorn found me, rebuilt me, offered me something better. You traitor. Rothar snarled. No. Mason said calmly, I evolved. Reyna shook her head. You let them take you. No, Mason whispered, stepping back into the shadows. I chose them. Then he was gone. Reyna stood frozen. That man had died, she said. I saw it, I felt it, but now he was alive and leading the enemy. The ship roared to life, and the team boarded quickly. Reyna sat in the cockpit, hands shaking just slightly. Rothar noticed but said nothing. What now? Vela asked quietly. Reyna looked up at the stars. Now we hunt one of our own. And above the moon, in the cold dark, the moss stirred, it had tasted war, and it wanted more. Space was quiet but never truly silent beneath the stars. Tension crackled like electricity on board the stolen Earth cruiser Revenant. Reyna sat in the command chair, eyes locked on the swirling darkness ahead. The crew was small, deadly, half of them didn't trust each other, maybe none of them did. A hologram of Mason flickered on the table between them. Former captain of the Earthborn Legion, Zealer said grimly. He was declared Kia, now he's void. He didn't just survive, Reyna muttered, he joined them. He became one of them. Vela stood near the edge of the room, her eyes glazed with visions. He's not gone, not completely, but the part that's left is dark. Rothar growled, then we'll tear that part out. The ship dropped out of hyperspace near the wreckage of a shattered fleet, ships twisted, holes torn open like tin. They were orbiting a dead star where light didn't shine. This is where they took him, someone said, and where we might find a way to stop them all. Reyna narrowed her eyes. Let's go say hello. They boarded the derelict command ship floating among the wreckage. Inside, it was cold and quiet until it wasn't, lights blinked on, shadows moved. Reyna led the way, her rifle ready. Rothar had his axe in one hand, a grenade in the other. Vela's presence kept the air heavy like a storm waiting to break. Then, a voice, still walking the path of heroes, Reyna, Mason's voice echoed through the corridor, you never were good at letting go. She didn't reply. They reached the central core, a throne-like structure made of bone and metal sitting at the top. It was Mason, very much alive, though his skin seemed thinner, stretched too tight, his eyes were hollow. But watching, he said, you followed me. You shouldn't have, you were one of us. Reyna, she said, you could have helped us stop this. I am helping, Mason said. The MA is the future. It's not chaos, it's evolution. It devours weakness, it leaves only strength behind. Rothar snarled, that's not evolution, that's extinction. Mason stood slowly. You don't understand. None of you do, the MA doesn't destroy, it remakes. I saw it, I felt it. Vela stepped forward, her voice soft, you're still in there somewhere. Mason flinched. Don't, I can reach you, she said. Let me in. But just as she tried, the ship shuddered. A pulse of dark energy rippled through it, and Vela screamed, she collapsed, clutching her head. She's seen it, Mason whispered. She knows now, the MA is already here. Reyna rushed to Vela. What did you see? Vela's eyes were wide, terrified. It's not just coming, it's inside the stars, waiting to burn out the light from within. Suddenly, alarms blared. Mason's body twisted, convulsed, then black tendrils burst from his back, the MA had merged with him. I gave myself willingly, he hissed, his voice now layered with something monstrous. Reyna, then you die willingly too. The room erupted in chaos. Rothar charged, swinging his axe, Reyna fired shot after shot. Mason, or what was left of him, fought like something born from nightmares. In the end, it was Vela who stopped him. She reached his mind one last time, and in a moment of clarity, 1 second, Mason looked at Reyna with human eyes. I'm sorry, he whispered, then he let go. The creature inside him screamed as Rothar's blade tore through it. Silence returned. They stood over the remains of their old friend. Reyna knelt, closing her eyes. We lost him once and again. Vela, pale and shaking, whispered, it's awake now. Reyna stood slowly. Then we finished this, no more waiting. The MA had a voice, a shape, a purpose, and the Deathworlders were done running. You said, last scene. The final battle didn't happen in orbit, it didn't happen on a planet, it happened between stars, in the dead space where light itself refused to shine. The MA had arrived, not as a fleet, not as a monster, but as a storm, the living shadow that swallowed systems whole. It twisted gravity, tore apart time, and buelled into minds like poison. 100 warships stood in its way, they didn't last a minute. But then came the Revenant. Reyna stood on the bridge, eyes locked on the swirling void ahead. She wasn't scared, not anymore. Behind her, Rothar tightened the straps on his battle harness, grinning like a beast about to be fed. Vela floated in silence, her body glowing faintly, the pressure around her growing heavier with every breath. This is it, Reyna said. No second chances. Rothar cracked his neck. Good, I like first chances better. Remember, Bezelter said through the comms, his own ship flanking them, the MA isn't just a creature, it's an infection, a mind. If it gets into yours, you're done. Reyna nodded. Then let's burn it before it spreads. The Revenant dove into the dark, straight into the MA. Inside was madness, stars twisted, voices whispered in impossible languages, time fractured. Reyna saw her own death, then her own birth, then nothing, but she kept moving. Their goal was simple, the core. The MA had a heart, a pulsing nexus of energy that linked everything it touched. Destroy it, and the storm dies. They landed on a world of flesh and shadow, a planet the MA had become. Reyna led the charge, her rifle singing with fire. Rothar tore through swarms of Emma-worn creatures with roars that shook the ground. Vela reached into the heart of the dark with her mind, guiding them through the chaos. But the MA fought back. It showed Reyna her worst moments, her failures, her regrets, her fear. You are weak, it hissed. You are alone. But Reyna didn't break. She screamed back, I'm not alone. And she wasn't. Rothar fought at her side, bleeding but laughing, while Vela stood behind her, her mind glowing like a star, burning the MA's lies to ash. At the core, they planted the device, the Vault's last gift, a reality disruptor built to tear holes in dimensions. Roar held the line, Vela held the MA back with pure force of will. Reyna activated the device. The core shrieked, the sky split, and then light, blinding, pure light. When it cleared, they were floating in space, quiet and peaceful. The MA was gone. Rothar was alive, barely, but smiling. Vela was silent, her body dim, energy drained but breathing, and Reyna looked up at the stars. We did it, she said. Zoltar's voice crackled through the static, we're reading the core collapse, the MA is dispersing. You won. Reyna whispered, eyes still on the stars, we won. And far, far away, the galaxy exhaled, because when the alien commander called, the galaxy's most feared Deathworlders answered, and they did not.